What do you consider to be the core fundamentals to be a successful Amazon PPC campaign?
I think by today everyone should be aware of the basics on the Amazon PPC level.
From your experience, how does an ideal campaign structure look like?
It all depends on the category and the actual product.
In your experience, which one works, gives you better results?
So many different things need to be taken into consideration.
We have this top of the search, rest of the search and everything, right?
Ecom Squeezed podcast.
Welcome to Ecommerce Squeezed. I am your host, Sebastian, founder of Retail-Outsource. And today we have an expert in Amazon advertising space. Joining us today is Igor Nuhanovic, founder of Amazonia PPC. With over a decade of experience in e-commerce and PPC, Igor has been helping sellers since 2016. Welcome to the show, Igor.
Thank you, Sebastian. The way you said it, I really appreciate myself even
you
more.
Are
like
10 years experience, yeah, of course.
Yeah, it actually is. Yeah, I feel like it's been a few years, but when you sum it up, 2014, it's been a while.
Great. Could you give us some background of what you do?
Yeah. In 2014, to be honest, I was mostly a sidekick for my wife. She started doing PPC, Google PPC in 2014. And because I have background in IT industry, in security of computer network security, so I was a technical guy. And at that time, Google demanded all those pixel tracking and coding and whatnot. So I was helping alongside to make that happen. And then I kind of slipped away into PPC without my intention because I was mostly doing the leadership stuff. Before that, I was leading a team in one US-based company. But anyway, that's where we started. And 2016, we started providing services for Amazon PPC. And I think it was 2016 at the end, or maybe 2017, that we completely shifted away to support only Amazon PPC brands. That is, brands who need help with Amazon PPC. But still, we provide valuable insights and consultation in terms of what's possible on Google, because we have some Google experience, Facebook ads. So it's helpful because all of that knowledge, advertising on Google is like 10 times more complicated than on Amazon. Google is providing so many services, analytics and everything that it's really a powerful engine. Hopefully we'll see Amazon coming to that point in 10 years or so.
That's great. Thank you for the intro. So you are an expert on Amazon also, right? On Amazon PPC side.
Yes.
So I want to ask some basic question to start with, and we can go deep into the PPC side. So
yeah,
my first question will be like, what do you consider to be the core fundamentals to be a successful Amazon PPC campaign?
Yeah, that's a good question, but it comes down not to PPC, but the right selection of products.
That's
PPC
true.
is the only driver. I can help you drive valuable traffic to your listing for the people with a high buying intent. But if they do not like what they see, or the price is too high, or somebody's just not realistic with their expectations, then there is no PPC to cover that. But if we step aside and think only about Amazon PPC, having proper campaign structure is a basic thing to have a good foundation for future growth. Because it can work if you just put all of your products in an auto campaign and just let it run, hook up your wallet. That can work. But at the end of the day, for a significant increase in sales and growth, you need to have a proper foundation in terms of structuring your campaigns. We usually do like single keyword campaigns or up to 5 to 10 keywords per campaign, manual, and then there are many others, of course. That I think by today everyone should be aware of the basics on the Amazon PPC, like how to structure auto campaigns, how to structure manual campaigns, and what are some of the nuances that you need to be aware of. But if you have some details that you want to hear more, I'll be glad to elaborate.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, thank you. So campaign structure. So I just want to follow up on that question. From your experience, how does an ideal campaign structure look like?
Okay. Depending, is it an already established brand, or is it a product launch? Is it product launch of a first product, or for a product launch of a 20th product? It all makes a huge difference. But if I need to have one definite answer to that, I would go like you need to have auto campaign in order to grab some of the placements that are only available for auto campaigns, but structure those auto campaigns, group them by targets. Like ideally I want to have one auto campaign per match type. So one auto campaign targeting close match, the second auto campaign targeting loose match, and then same for the complements and substitutes. For the manual campaigns, I would go for single keyword exact match campaigns for most important keywords that you want to be ranked for and or aggressively target. And other than that, I would group other, so aside from single keyword campaigns, I would go for sponsor products exact match, only single ad group, up to 10 keywords per ad group, depending now again, group similar keywords with the same root and similar search volume together, because if you put one keyword that has a higher search volume and all the others have like 10 times less, you will end up having that one single keyword consuming most of the budget, and then you end up having a situation where you need to further restructure that campaign. Aside from exact match, you need to have phrase match, you need to have broad match. I would always recommend not having too many keywords, so up to 10. In the past, we could get away by having up to 20, up to 30, 50, but for 2024, it's 5 to 10 keywords per campaign, I suggest, because that way you get most of the control without sacrificing too much of granularity, like having hundreds of campaigns for for a few ASINs. Again, we can expand on that. Usually, it's always that it depends. So if it's if it's a low cost product, then you may end up having high CPCs on keyword targeting, and then you need to maybe think about having more sponsored display targeting options, maybe sponsored product, maybe even category targeting to refine it and target maybe only higher priced, lower reviews or lower ranks, something like that. So it all depends.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, it all depends on what the customer, right? How they want to, if they're in the launch stage or if they want to have brand awareness. That's a great point. Thank you. My next question will be regarding the keywords. Right? We need to collect the keywords in order to make, for example, a manual campaign. So what are the sources to get the keywords from? Which softwares? Or do you just take keywords from automatic campaign, or do you look into third-party softwares?
To be honest, I rarely do keyword harvesting from auto campaigns. That's my honest take on that, and not because it's not valuable, but I just haven't seen so many success with that. But I mostly base my decisions on Helium 10 tools, because I find it's versatile. So with their Cerebro, I can really dive deep into selecting specific keywords where only a number of competitors are ranked, so highly relevant, or I can go deeper and select long tail ones. But I try to, since currently we support a lot of brands who sell on EU marketplaces, so there's that trouble doing Dutch keyword research, Japanese keyword research, and all those stuff. And there's, I would say, hack that I started using lately. It's using ChatGPT. Even the free version supports that. So it gives you a starting point for keyword research. You can just take a screenshot of your product or of your future product or your competitor product. You do a screenshot and you just paste it into ChatGPT prompt and say, hey, how would you, as a native German speaker, how would you describe this product? List me 10 or 20, 10 keywords that I could potentially use in Amazon Germany to find such product. And you would be amazed what will you get as a result. Because some of those keywords would be used in a normal conversation between the German people, but you wouldn't find that in the drop down, the autocomplete or the Helium 10, and it's a good starting point to expand your keyword research. Especially since I mentioned Germany, they have those multiple words in one keyword, like 20 characters, 25 or more characters in one single keyword. Like something, and it actually means something, and you cannot find that through Helium 10 or Amazon autocomplete. So there very often we need to be creative. Recently I did a keyword research for Japan. It was really fun. Because so those are some of the basic things. So Helium 10 is a must. Also, autocomplete helps a lot. Doing reverse racing search on multiple competitors, and then just combining everything, adding some of those in broad match to find additional ones. Also, I found that when you add keyword as a broad match, say, I don't know, what would be a good example? Whatever, blue mouse, like, I don't know, whatever. I saw blue mouse over here. Blue mouse.
Okay.
And when you add that as a broad match, then you will have so many different search terms appearing after that. But very often you will see that blue mouse, that the base keyword, is having really high volume, a lot of clicks with a low buying intent, very often really high ACoS on those. What you can do, and I think people are scared of that, you can actually add the same keyword as an exact match. So you have a broad match of blue mouse, and you have exact match negative as a blue mouse, and still it's going to work, but it's only going to block the actual phrase of a blue mouse, but it will continue to generate the long tail versions of it. So that's something I've never seen people use as an option, and it's really powerful because it blocks those high volume, low buying intent keywords.
Yeah, got it. And on the on the keyword topic, what's your experience on that? How results on adding misspellings to the keyword list?
I think it's only worth if you see those misspellings in the autocomplete because since Amazon started changing exact match several months ago to be not so exact, so you can add your keyword in singular and it will show up even on plural. And misspellings very often fall into that category as well. But I would target specifically misspelled keywords only if they appear in autocomplete dropdown, because we humans are becoming more lazy and lazy, so we rely more on what's on a dropdown than what we actually wanted to search for. So even though it doesn't make any sense in grammatical way, like we just started clicking on those dropdowns.
Great, that's great. And regarding the type of the keywords, right, broad, phrase, and exact. In your experience, which one have given you more returns?
It has different bids and different performance in every category.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, so you can see you can quickly see that once you're in the campaign building process, but when you do that manually, not over some automatic deployment through the tools, but when you actually do that manually, you can see from the drop-down which one will be more active or not. Very often I've seen even that broad match is having a higher bid than exact match and vice versa. So it all depends on the category and the actual product, what it's going to be like. But still, that's not even always the case, because Amazon will show you that the average CPC is $1, but when you actually start bidding, can go up significantly from that, like 2 or 3, to actually see some meaningful results or not meaningful.
Yeah, great. And for example, if a seller is launching a new product, right? So do you recommend them to start with an automatic campaign and then move on to manual and the rest of the campaigns? How does, what do you recommend them?
It depends if it's, let's cover both scenarios. If it's a new product or if it's an existing product. Or sorry, I don't know, whichever product from the portfolio of products. If they aim to be as successful and as aggressive as possible during the product launch, prerequisites to that would be fully optimized listing, both for mobile and for desktop, optimized for conversions. So if they aim to be aggressive in achieving some higher ranks on most important keywords with a high search volume and highest relevancy, I would skip the auto campaign and focus only on several exact match campaigns, like 3 to 5, depending on the budget, depending on the industry and the category. Because by that, you can now, with Product Opportunity Explorer widely available and accessible to everybody, and the new features they've been adding, you can pretty much guess the conversion rate that you're gonna have and what your competitors are doing. So by that, you can also estimate the cost per acquisition, cost per sale. And then if you're selling on US, you can use Data-Rova tool, or if you're selling on also Helium 10, but I found Data-Rova pretty accurate, and I'll tell you why. Then you can estimate the actual number of sales that you need to have in order to rank up in top positions. I'm mentioning Data-Rova for US because Data-Rova is giving you what they have some abbreviation like daily sales to rank, DSTR or something like that.
DSTR, yeah.
Yeah. So they're giving you the number of sales that you need to have in order to rank in top 3 positions, while Helium 10 is giving you the CPR number of sales that you need to have per period of 8 days, but not for the top 3 or top 5 positions, but top 16 positions. So that's where discrepancies come from what you actually predicted and forecasted, like your CPC is going to be $2 and you end up paying 5 or 7 because those $2, yes, it is, but for 10 position, 12 position or something like that, but it can usually go higher than that. So if it's an aggressive launch, then no auto campaigns, only those aggressive ones, budget calculation. I did a detailed YouTube video on that on our channel, so anybody interested in that can go and look it up. But I will add additional ones using Product Opportunity Explorer. But if it's, let's say, not such an aggressive product launch, then I would definitely go for a broader reach. Like I would include those a few campaigns. There are exact match single keyword campaigns only, but I would also add phrase match and an auto campaign for that.
That's a great point. My next question will be: we have a lot of third-party software, right, to manage PPC, and we have the old school CSV upload everything.
Mm-hmm.
In your experience, which one works, gives you better results? I know there are a lot of variables into it, but in general,
I think manual approach always gives you better results, but in that approach from the agency standpoint involves having much more workforce and not to overload your teammates with too many accounts to handle. Because using an external tool can help you leverage some of the workload throughout the day, like be it up, be it down, depending on some conditions, but it's not always that easy. Maybe you can do that through software and relieve yourself from, 50% of some labor-intensive tasks. But at the end of the day, sometimes if you have a really qualified team members, it's more than that. So is it, for example, France, when you're advertising in France cannot be predicted at all. So they're very impulsive from my experience. So if the weather is down, so it's terrible weather outside, and if selling something for a beach, then everything's gonna be terrible. The sales gonna be down. But my point is that as a human, you have such a wide reach in determining should you pause it or not. So if it's a highly relevant keyword and yes, it stopped converting, it doesn't mean that you should pause it and forget about it. But it means just you need to take into consideration what's happening, what is the market, what's happening in the country you're advertising in. Are there any riots? Which occasionally happens in France, and I admire them for that. But so many different things need to be taken into consideration. That's why I think manual approach always wins in terms of performance, but not in terms of ease of use and labor. It's intensive very often.
So very good point regarding labor. But we are going through Amazon big Prime Day deals right now. So, occasions like this, we have, a lot of Black Friday, Cyber Monday, a lot of things are coming up. During those days, what's your recommendation? Is that, a bits up and down or bits down only? Which option will be the best in case, I'm a seller, I have a limited amount of budget. So which option would you recommend in that scenario?
I don't ever recommend using up and down, to be honest, because it's unpredictable. When you use up and down, it's very dangerous to start using placement modifiers on top of that. So that can create chaos. And plus, I've I didn't see much of an increase in sales using up and down. I had the opportunity to onboard an account which had, for every product line, that had 3 campaigns types. So it's basically one campaign. Only difference between those 3 campaigns was that one had fixed bids, one has up and down, and one has down only. All the same bids, all the same products, all the same keywords. So the only difference was the bidding strategy. And when you observe that over the period of time of several months, what you can see is not of a big difference in terms of sales velocity, but you can only see a difference in CPCs on up and down. I've typically seen, for example, if average CPC on those down and fixed bids is 15 cents, the up and down is going to be 20, 25 with similar number of sales, so nothing significant. But using up and down actually doesn't help you at all and doesn't give you any control of what's happening. So you can go and, like, you want to decrease the bid with up and down, you decrease it by 5 cents, but it doesn't matter. Those 5 cents doesn't make much sense because it can go double than that, or so. I would never recommend using that, to be honest.
Okay, and regarding, we have this top of the search, rest of the search and everything, right? Also, let's assume that I put 100% on top of the search to bid up. So I put to £1. Okay, let's just an example.
Mm-hmm.
So if I put 100%, that will be $3, right?
Yeah.
In case if I want to bid.
I don't know. I usually have a calculator for that.
Okay.
So yeah, if I'm not mistaken, you have one pound-based bid, and you have a 100% multiplier that's going to end up having a bid of £2, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah.
Okay.
It's sometimes a little bit confusing. I have a calculator for that I created in Google Sheets, which I enter the end bid that I want to have, and it gives me the percentage of increase and how much to decrease the base bid in order to have the placement modifier works in that favor. So I don't rely too much on actually calculating in my mind because that's not static.
I saw that video
results.
on your channel. It's quite great. I will put a link in the show notes. You will be able to get a template that's a Google Sheet. So you just put in the number and it will give you the exact the bits if you put a certain percentage. So it's quite useful. Anyway, I put the link in the description.
Yeah, I use it very often.
Video. And following up on the day parting side, what's your take on day parting?
I think it's a great way to save some money, especially for the categories where it's a highly competitive industry, so highly competitive category. I haven't prepared for this call to share screen, but I will shortly explain. So it's pretty easy to use it. So you go ahead into sponsored ads reports and you create for a sponsored product campaign report. And then on a drop down, you can select an hourly report. Once that is generated, it takes us a little bit more than the other reports. But once that is generated, it's limited to 14 days, unfortunately. But you can do that. You can accumulate. If you're not using any external software, you can accumulate. So every 14 days, you can pull the data. And then over time, you will have a bigger date range. And when you paste that, you can probably link that also, that calculator that I did for the hourly heat map. When you can paste that, and on the second sheet, I immediately have a heat map of what are some of the hours that I have the best conversion rate on. So I can use that one you can do that manually. You don't need to use my heat map or any other, but it's just easier to analyze the data. So you can use that and just observe if you have, most of the time you have best conversions from, 8 or 9 a.m. up to 1 p.m. and then maybe at the evening. So you can use that to save some money and have better exposure during the peak times if you cannot compete with the others. But still, there are those situations where when you have actually exposure throughout the day, Amazon may serve your ad somewhere where it can actually make a sale out of those high peak hours. Take it with a grain of salt. So it's not like a winning strategy, but if you're tight on budget and really want to compete with one big or several competitors, then it's a very useful tool.
Okay, that's great. Yeah, good point. And Amazon PPC is getting really expensive, right? The bids are going up and up year on year. So what if we drive traffic from other channels, like, for example, Google or TikTok? In terms of ROI, what do you think? We might get better ROI from outside Amazon. What's your take on that?
Well, Google offers a keyword planner tool, and it's free for everyone. All you need to do is sign up for Google Ads. You don't have to actually pay and create any ads, but it gives you access to the keyword planner, and it offers you, it gives you an opportunity to select a demographics and not the demographics, but geography. Like, I want to do a keyword research for US on this city or that city, and some additional filters out there, and you can actually filter out the average CPCs there. They are more accurate than when you do that research on Amazon. And by that, you can estimate the cost, and you would be surprised how those costs are high for some of the categories. So investing in that kind of traffic is really very often not sustainable, because conversion rate on Google versus conversion rate on Amazon is completely different story. So you would end up paying high amounts of money for somebody just researching something on Google, or if they're just interested in see the image of a product, or a student just browsing and for his research, and you will end up paying those keywords. Okay, there are exceptions if you bid only on long tail keywords and high buying intent, but still, it's not like a winning strategy. There was a hype a few months around that, like if you use external traffic, everything's gonna be super for you, but it's case by case. So it doesn't matter, like if you do that from Google, you're gonna win big. For some people, I've heard Facebook ads or Meta ads is doing a marvelous job. For the others, I heard it's complete madness. So it's not like there's no golden strategy. It's all about testing. Now, if none one doesn't work, then go to Facebook, go to TikTok, go to micro-influencers. You need to test it out. I cannot give any recommendation like something works or something doesn't. Yeah. It's just about testing and finding the right the sweet spot for your business. But it's helpful in a nutshell. Yeah, it's helpful, but it's not like if you invest it, you're gonna see the return. Very often, it's gonna be like real bad in terms of money in your pockets.
Yeah, that's great. And in terms of PPC is only one factor, right? There are other factors that will have an impact on the sales, like, the listing quality. In terms of other factors, like, for example, let's take a listing. What all areas you will look into?
I better write down. Yes. Main image for the best click-throughs rates, because that significantly boosts your sales if people are choosing your product over the others. But other than what the other experts in industry are saying, like having your images optimized correctly, not Photoshop if possible, but the actual photos of your products in lifestyle images and everything in the infographics, especially now when Amazon is using more and more AI. So you need to have those infographics filled with keywords on your listings in order to enable Amazon AI to pull the relevant information from that images. The A+ content goes the same way. The same thing applies for A+ content. But what I would emphasize is optimizing your images for mobile. Because 70, if not more % on average, what I'm seeing on the accounts is coming from mobile traffic, and being taken into the fact that most of us who are doing advertising and sellers who are selling on Amazon, we all browse our images and competitor images from our desktop, and that's completely giving us wrong picture on what's actually happening, while the reality is that 70% of sales are coming from these guys. So it's pretty simple. It's so stupid. Like the only thing that you need to do at the very basic level is just increase those fonts, increase those text, add an overlay text like this is like emphasize the benefits, the features it has, just make it big so anybody browsing while they're waiting on the traffic jam, just for them to be easy to see the benefits of the product. Nobody is going to bother reading through all of that block of text on your description on A+, or even the listing bullet points. More and more people just don't care about it. It's just a blob of text. Nobody cares.
Yeah.
Just you go straight to the images. So optimizing for mobile is a must, because if you've optimized your images to be looking great on desktop, it doesn't mean that they're good on mobile. So you can test that. The best option is to test it through mobile phone, but if you use Chrome or Firefox or any of the other browser, there's actually a tool inside the browser, mostly somewhere under the developer tools, that you can actually emulate the image on mobile and just quickly see if it's going to convert better or not. But the difference is huge. I've made a calculation, and a single digit change in conversion rate can lead up to tens of thousands of dollars on a monthly level, just if you increase your conversion rate on mobile by 1%. And so it's huge.
Yeah, that's true, very true. And we have this Cosmo AI and Rufus coming into play now, right? And people are asking questions, so intent, so use cases for the product. Mm-hmm. So, can we put that as a keyword, like in a sentence? Maybe it might be a question, and we can add that on the campaigns as a keyword. Have you tried that?
No, I haven't. I haven't tried that in terms of PPC, but to fully utilize the Cosmo and the Rufus and whatever is coming, the Amazon recognition and everything else, we are slowly moving away from that era of keyword importance. Keywords is always going to be important, because PPC advertising is what is giving Amazon so much money. So they're never going to ditch that and replace it with AI. Who needs that? It's always going to be there. But we are moving into an era where you will actually create meaningful bullet points and explanations of use cases of your listings, of your products, and which will then enable those AI to pick up the actual information about your product. So I haven't used that through the PPC. If you did, so you can enlighten me.
No, we haven't done it. That's something that we are planning to do. We have to do a lot of testing.
Okay,
so
nice.
This is something new, right? Rufus, for example, it was launched like 2 weeks ago. A lot of, I think people are adapting quite fast with those AI. So I think we all need to change that. My next question will be regarding, the KPIs. So if you want to select like 4 main KPIs that a seller have to look into the PPC side, which all will be those 4 KPIs?
Well, if I have to,
yes,
it all depends on what the brand is looking for. But click-through rate, conversion rate, not in the order of significance. Yeah. In the order of significance, I would say conversion rate first. But conversion rate, click-through rate, cost per sale, and for the last one, I would maybe say, I don't know, because it
all depends about the
I don't want to say ACOS, because that's completely irrelevant. As you can have 20% ACOS on a keyword with multiple sales and still be losing money on that product. So ACOS is nothing. So what's your profit margin? If your profit margin is 2% and you have 15% of ACOS, you're losing money. So ACOS is completely irrelevant, and it's for beginners, and that's good for a start for someone who starts selling. But it's completely irrelevant metric for most of the cases. I like to focus mostly on the actual profit margin, and then base my advertising decisions off of that, and not off some even the total ACOS. With the increase of outside traffic, total ACOS in terms of relation to PPC is losing its value. So you cannot say, hey, I want to invest so much money in ads and our total ACOS is good, but it's not because of the ads. It's because of the TikTok. It's because of the Google, the content marketing, and everything else. So that brings our total ACOS down, not the ads or profitability of the ads. So it's just becoming a little bit a different game than what it used to be even 1 year ago.
Yeah, true. And my other question will be, have you had any client which said, okay, I want to maintain an organic ranking. Let's assume that it's a number 2, organic number 2. And I want to use PPC as a tool to maintain that ranking. So if the ranking drop, boost the PPC to get some sales, so the ranking will come up again. So did you had any clients like that, with that specific request?
Yes, I did. And at that time, we did that using the PackView software, which is
Okay.
amazingly expensive.
Yeah, I saw that.
But it also provides a lot of information. It's definitely value for the money. It provides so many values on so many different points that it's out of the scope of this conversation. But PackView has rules that you can set. If your organic ranking drops by a certain number, increase the bids or increase the budgets on these campaigns. Even you can select your total ACoS. If it goes up and down, you can automatically have your campaigns defend your positions. So yeah, I had that request from a client, and unfortunately, it's pay to play. So I've seen cases where there's that debate: should you bid on your main keyword or not if you're organically ranked number one? So what I've witnessed is that we had number one position for a keyword for 6 months, not a single drop to the second place in 6 months. And when we decided to use that, we had a single keyword campaign bidding on that keyword, even though that we had organic position number one. But when we decided to shift that budget to a second keyword or set of keywords, because this was a significant amount of money on a daily basis, the moment we paused that single keyword campaign, we saw a drop in organic rank down to 5th position.
Wow.
So
yeah, it's
go
quite
figure.
tricky. That's great. And regarding softwares, we have a lot of softwares for Amazon sellers, right? So if you can pick maybe 3 that's more beneficial for a seller, that's for anything, not just PPC, in general for Amazon seller, which one will be those 3?
You mean the software which will cover not only PPC but other
anything
aspects
general.
Well, for those who can afford it, I would recommend PackView because I've seen it work. It can provide you so many benefits. Scale Insights is becoming better. I hate it completely because of their user interface from the 90s and because the lack of knowledge base. And I told them, so it's not a secret. I'm not telling bad things about them. I'm just saying the truth. So their documentation is completely awful, but it's a rising star for several years now. What else? Well, Helium 10 as a part of the PackView family also is one of the best, and they offer the PPC part too with the Atomic. And there are a few that only offer PPC help, which are maybe better for someone just starting, like, I don't know, PPC Profit is the one, or maybe Ad Fixer. They're like low entry softwares which can help drive good results, especially at the beginning.
Oh, that's great. Thank you for the suggestions. And do you want to recommend any books for people who are start selling on the e-commerce side?
Yeah, I always recommend one, and it's from the year 2000. So it's been 24 years now, quarter of a century, but it's still relevant. It's called Don't Make Me Think, from, was it Danny Kruger or Dan Kruger? But Don't Make Me Think is the book on, it's on general website use and how to create seamless interaction for your visitor to drive them towards the end of the funnel and conversion. It's written for websites, but it's completely relevant for listing optimization. It explains how you need to provide a path for them towards your goal. You cannot give them too many options like, should I click here or there, or do I need this service or that service? No, this is where you want to go. Like, it will address this and this and this problem that you have. This is going to fix everything. This is the social proof. Bam, buy it. So
I think it's still really relevant, especially with all those changes on Amazon. And that's great. Thanks a lot for all the valuable insights. I really appreciate that. Where can all the viewers find about yourself, and do you offer any free audits for them?
Yeah, we do free audits, and don't get me wrong, since it takes time, we cannot audit an account that just has started. We can provide assistance in terms of specific questions. They can shoot me an email over through a website or LinkedIn or wherever they find me. They can find me on LinkedIn, on YouTube. We tend to answer all of those questions. But yeah, we do free audits for anybody who's interested. So yeah, feel free to reach out through our website. You can follow our YouTube channel. We tend to record the step-by-step tutorials, even some best practices, and it's growing. We started that channel 5 years ago, but we made a huge pause. So now we're starting to publish regularly.
Great. So I'll put, for Igor's YouTube channel, it's mainly PPC based. So
Yeah.
I will highly recommend to go and have a look into it. Most of the videos are like in depth on each topic. I'll put a link in the show notes. So have a look into it, and its websites, that's Amazonian Web PPC, and also for his LinkedIn profile as well. Thanks a lot, Igor, for your time. Really appreciate that.
Thanks, Sebastian. It's been a pleasure.